Hear his journey, why he decided to join Bitcoin. Was his background? What was the reason why he got into cryptocurrency? And how his experience has been since joining BizzTrade Bitcoin. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you all, our one and only Vice President of Sales, Mr. Terry James.
Hey, thank you so much indeed, Hader. Oh, I got my dogs barking. Right, guys, great to for that lovely, amazing introduction there from Hader, top leader, and you know, I feel honoured for the kind words that you give to me. Now, who wants to know my story? Who wants to know my story? Where do I come from? How did I get here where I am today? What did I follow? What did I take on board to create the success that I have in my life? Do you want to know? Do you want to know how far back I go? You know, when I first started, let me give you a very brief synopsis of my life story, just to give you my background as to where I come from and what created my foundations in life. I started in my working career, age 16. I joined the army. Now, I joined the army age 16 when a lot of you weren't even born. In fact, Hader, I know, wasn't born. So I joined the army in 1980. 1980, I joined the army. Hader, what year were you born, mate?
That would be telling. 89. 89.
Sorry?
89, Terry.
89, okay. So I joined the army in 1980, and I did 11 years in the army in the Royal Engineers. And there may be some ex-military amongst you right now, but what I learned is some good, solid disciplinary skills in the army from a personal life perspective. And after the army, I joined the police, and I was a police officer for 15 years. So if anybody should be like a product of the system, it should be me. But I rebelled. I rebelled against the system, and Bitcoin is a perfect example of how and why I rebelled. And I'm going to show you what caused me to rebel and realize there's more to life than just being in a job or a drone or whatever it is that you can easily get in a rut with and not escape from out of that comfort zone. Because you know what? Being a police officer back when I was, that was a comfort zone. If you left the police when I was in, if you left, it was highly unusual. You're only leaving really if you've got the boot. But I didn't. I resigned because I moved on to better things. I'm going to show you what caused me to start thinking about getting out of that rut that I was in. And it was this. Can you see that? Let me just try and get it into focus. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book by Robert Kiyosaki. That changed my life. Anybody in the room that's got that book, please give a thumbs up if you've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you haven't, please go and get it. Good, there's people in the room who've got Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Because it tells you how you can be stuck in that rut for your whole life and you never get out of it because you're working for a paycheck, and there's always more month than there is money. No matter what you do, there's always more month than money, and there has to be other ways. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book, and I realized he was a property. He started in property. Now I gave this book to my son. I've got one child. He's now 31 years old. Just 31 years old. Now, I gave this book to my son when he was about 13 or 14 years old because it certainly changed my perspective, and I did not want him to fall into the job rut that I had fallen into. Let me show you what he does today after reading this book that changed his life at the age of 14 when he read it. Let me just show you what, if I can do, what he's doing now. By the way, when I was a police officer, I started my policing career in Birmingham, working in Handsworth in Birmingham at Thornhill Road Police Station, if anybody knows that area. So that's why my son, who I gave the book to, now runs his own music academy out of Kidderminster. And this is his company. He owns 2 studios, recording music studios. He does teaching of instruments. He's a professional drummer. And when he left school, he went straight into learning music and drumming and became a professional drummer, went all over the world, came back to Kidderminster and started businesses. Now, if you're in the Midlands, in the West Midlands, you can always look him up. He owns this business. He has 2 studios now. I think he's opening another one in Dudley for Teach Me Music. A lot of people wanting to learn all skills. Now, he's also a pilot. He's also a qualified pilot. And you know why he's done all that? Because I gave him this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I gave him this book. It changed my life and it changed his life. And if you haven't got it, guys, please go out and get that book. You see, it changes your perspective on money completely. You realize, and Robert Kiyosaki's words are, the Federal Reserve are a criminal organization. This is Robert Kiyosaki. I know it, and so do many other people. The Federal Reserve, who print the US dollar, are a criminal organization. Now, he will tell you that every day of the week, and so will many other monetary financial professionals, because there are different ways of looking at money. When you realize the US dollar, the world reserve currency, has been printed to oblivion since they removed it from the gold standard in 1971, it means they can print as much as they want and go to war as much as they want and pay for it with our money, right? From the taxpayers. So that's what they've been doing since 1971, printing more and more money and devaluing fiat currency. Now, you may or may not know that all fiat currencies in the world are all pegged and held to account by the US dollar. So it doesn't matter if you're carrying a £20 note or a euro note or a krona note or a rupee or even a Chinese yen. It doesn't matter. It's all pegged and held accountable to the US dollar. The US dollar is like Bitcoin in the crypto world, the granddaddy, if you like. But the problem is, as Robert Kiyosaki has pointed out, the Federal Reserve is a criminal organization. So in the year 2008, 2009, by this time, I'd left the police and I'd become a property professional, all based on Robert Kiyosaki's work. I built a property portfolio up. I had my own business. It was growing really strongly. I was driving an Aston Martin. I had a Porsche 911 on the drive and a Land Rover, lived in a big house, property all over the world. 2008 came along. 2008 came along and took almost everything off me because I thought I understood money, but I realized I didn't. 2008, I moved to Cyprus, where I have property in Cyprus and still do today. But I lived there for about 4 years, contemplating what money was. How and why did I lose everything? And around 2012, I became aware of Bitcoin. 2011, 2012, I became aware of Bitcoin. Because at the time, Cyprus in 2012 closed all the banks down. You couldn't get access to your bank account overnight. They closed them all off. For 2 weeks, they wouldn't let anybody have any money. The cards were all blocked. The ATMs were all closed. The shops would not accept anything. And all the banks, the only thing you could use was either cash or gold. That's when cryptocurrency became a little bit more popular. And people started to realize that even in this main EU country, Cyprus, the banks and the government can close you down like that, and they can give you a haircut and take all the money out of your account, no problem. Now, if you live in Portugal, as I do, and if you are a resident and you have a bank account in Portugal, many people don't know this outside Portugal, but the government can go in your bank account anytime they like and take money out. Anytime. Doesn't matter. They don't need an excuse. If you've got a bank account and you are a citizen of Portugal, they can just go into your account and take money out, and you can argue with them later. That's what they can do. So you've got to realize, guys, that the banking system, as Robert Kiyosaki has said, is corrupt. It is evil and it is corrupt. And they are an evil cabal of money producers. They make us reliant on their US dollar. I got more and more into cryptocurrency when I became aware of what the system is, and I have been a part of the system, so I could reflect on what I'd learned and decided to pursue more of a career in cryptocurrency, network marketing, and because of the Robert Kiyosaki motivational aspect of the book, I became a hypnotist, working and using the power of the mind. I became a stage hypnotist in Portugal. I was going around the whole of the Algarve doing shows and venues everywhere. At the same time, I became quite familiar with cryptocurrency. And in 2012, 2013, I actually put the very first Bitcoin cash point machine into central London. In fact, it was the first one in the UK and probably the first one in Europe. And it was created, and it was made by a company at that time no longer around called RoboCoin. And I was on CoinDesk. I did interviews with the media in London, and it was a really big event because nobody really in 2012 knew what Bitcoin was. And the banks were not very entertaining because, of course, if you remember, and the banks even today are not that friendly with cryptocurrencies. Why? Because it's a better form of money. So I became involved in cryptocurrency 10 years ago. I did the Bitcoin ATM in the background whilst I was doing my hypnosis, personal development, helping people to overcome fear of flying, fear of their phobias, personal development, stage hypnosis shows for comedy, realizing the power of the mind. So that's when I got involved and developed my career in crypto and the power of the mind and personal development. I've been working on different projects because of my experience in crypto. I was invited to work on different projects. I've been on white papers. I've been speaking on stage about cryptocurrencies in different parts of the world. And networking, I know, even you speak to Robert Kiyosaki, read his works, and many other personal development gurus will tell you that networking is probably the best job you can possibly have, working for yourself. So working for yourself and working with cryptocurrency in network marketing are two very, very powerful elements to bring together. Very powerful. Cryptocurrencies, you can see with Bitcoin today going to nearly $20,000 for one single coin. Well, with my experience, I came to the table. I was invited to BizzCoin because I'd worked on different projects. And Paul, I don't know if Paul's on the call tonight, Paul Guns, invited me to look at BizzCoin back in March, end of March, beginning of April. And I said to Paul, look, what you're telling me about the coin, BizzCoin, can't be true. Because I've been working on all these projects. I've worked with coins, taking them to regulation, bringing them forward as an ecosystem. I've been working with achieved. So I know there's a lot of scams in crypto. So Paul, I think you're probably telling me some lies. So I want you to introduce me to the owner and I can get to the bottom of what you're telling me. I actually spoke to Hader. Hader will confirm. And I asked some really deep technical questions that he clearly couldn't answer. And he admits he couldn't answer because he didn't have the experience in crypto. But he got me on the call with Rehan and I grilled him probably twice for many hours, all about how this ecosystem has been put together, the regulatory side, and how it was all fitting together, what their background was, what companies they'd had. And I used all the skills that I've got from my previous years in the police and previous years of looking at all the scams and working through them in cryptocurrency, seeing coins come and go, people losing their money. And I applied my skills to research then thoroughly what this company was all about. I found lots of different allegations about the company online, and I wanted to get to the bottom of every single one of those allegations before I put my name to it. And I can proudly say that I did a lot of work, and Anika will affirm, I did a lot of work, a lot of research, and I can uncover some things that other people cannot uncover about people and about companies. And I found nothing at all that would harm this company in relation to the allegations that I found. I found them to be completely unfounded and without substance, and really just a lot of people shouting their mouths off, just trying to be derogatory about a company and the people behind it. No substance. So I was delighted. I tested the ecosystem, I tested the coin, I tested what was going on, and it all worked, and it was all good. So on the 1st of April, I joined. I got involved and I started doing the presentation shortly after because I knew we had our hands on a winner, and I wasn't wrong. The coin at the time was about 30 cents and today's at 79. I know I wasn't wrong, and I know I'm not wrong today. The coin is going to the top. And it's going to the top because of the company behind it, the people behind it, the ecosystem, and the vision of what they've got. I can compare it to all these other coins I've worked with, and I can see it's head and shoulders above them. So we've got a real winner in our hands. Now, because of my background and because, of course, I've been a stage hypnotist, motivational speaker in personal development off the stage, Rehan recognized my qualities of crypto and speaking and invited me to become a part of the corporate team. After about 3 months, of course, I did more checks and more due diligence. I went to the company. I visited them in Birmingham. I visited them in Madrid. I visited them in Italy. I went to meet all the owners, and I was absolutely delighted what I found. And I put my name on the corporate team, and I'm proud to do so. Guys, there's winners and there's those people who make the efforts, and those people that can't get out of their ruts and get out of their comfort zone. You need to get out of your comfort zone. It's between your ears. It's where the comfort zone is. If you get out of that comfort zone, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. For me, to be on a corporate team of what I regard to be the next Bitcoin, because it's got qualities no other coin has come to market with since Bitcoin, the next Bitcoin, and I know many of them make that claim, and I know it's an old cliche because they never are, but I believe we are this time, then I'm very, very proud to put my name on it and work with it and develop it and work with you guys and create a big family. I know network marketing works, and I know crypto in particular right now with digital currencies is the future. This stuff is becoming a museum piece. It's fast becoming a museum piece. And decentralized finance, DeFi as they call it, DeFi, you defy the banks, right? DeFi, decentralized finance, is the way the world is going. It's the way with smart contracts on the Ethereum. We happen to be on the Ethereum blockchain, which is brilliant. The world is going more diverse, away from central banking. Banking is finished. High street banks have finished. People are taking the power of money back into their own hands in a decentralized manner, and that, to me, is the way forward. So, Hader, I hope that's my story synopsis given there. How I've been successful, how I've encouraged my son to be successful, and the root of all that success was in Rich Dad Poor Dad.